Good day. This is Chuck Cameron. The program is My Life. And today I'm in the Addison Township offices. And Marie May, who's responsible for lots of senior services, has joined us. Today we're going to learn about Marie, her life. So Marie, first, thank you for giving me a few minutes about your life.
Thank you for inviting me.
It seemed like the right thing to do.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
When we talk to folks about the My Life program, we always start with figuring out what you're up to today and then drag you back a few decades to figure out how you got to be the person you are.
Okay.
So could you tell us, first of all, just briefly, what do you do today? What are you involved in, maybe here with Addison Township?
I am the Senior Citizen Director
Yep.
for Addison, and I schedule events. I make a monthly calendar so that seniors can check it and see if they can come. Some of them, if they have a problem getting here, I try to set them up with NOTA, how to do that, just different things like that. If they're sick, I try to do that kind of thing.
Excellent. So you're seniors. Okay, now we're going to figure out in a while how you got involved in that interesting world. But let me take you back to when you were growing up. How is the young Marie, where did she grow up?
Okay.
Tell me about her home life. Tell me about mom and dad. Let's start with that.
Okay, my parents were born in Italy.
Yeah, really.
And my grandparents, before they came to America, my grandfather and his brother had a choice either to go to America or to go to Australia for a better life because it was very hard at the time in Italy. So one brother went to Australia and one brother came to America. So so that's how I ended up with relatives in Australia and lots of relatives. Most of my relatives are in Italy. So then they came over, and then they grew up in Detroit, and then they had us, and they went from there. My grandmother's brother, who was left behind in Italy, tried to get in. At the time, you had to have a sponsor, and he couldn't come in because the border was full. So he ended up in Canada. So I have relatives in Canada.
Got it.
So I kind of got them scattered.
You do.
But I do have 3 sisters that are here. And but my parents are both deceased. My dad died in 60, and my mom died in 2015.
Got it.
So it's my sisters and I are very, very close.
What was Dad like, and what was Mom like?
My dad had a company, Italian American Tile Company.
Oh, got it.
And it was from the house.
Yep.
But he had girls. So growing up, we would try to carry buckets of mud.
Yep.
You know, but if he would have had a boy, he would have taken over.
Yep.
Yeah. But so that's what we did. We would try to go help him, as my mother warned him. You know, don't work us too hard. He was wonderful, and my mother also. She went through heart surgeries, and she just really good. She lived with me for 15 years.
Excellent.
After her last 15 years, we built on for her to stay with us, and yeah, she was there. So it was good.
Can you tell us maybe something you learned from Dad and something you learned from Mom that would be kind of life lessons? What do you take with you today that grew out of the soil that they grew you in?
My father was, I think he was before his time for what he knew. But he would say, you can do anything. You can do anything, you can be anything. One time he was going to go to Florida with my grandmother because they had bought some land, and my sister and I said, can we go with you? He's, sure, you can go, as long as you pay for it. So we were real happy, and then it was like, oh, how are we going to pay for it? But we did. Good. We did. So he taught us good lessons like that you can do anything, you can be anything you want, as long as you work at it and do it. Now, my mother was more of a cautious type person. She was the type where don't make too much of a mess in the kitchen, which is what I think most mothers would do, but she would teach us too. So it was good growing up. It was just a little too short for Dad.
Sure, it would be.
Yeah.
I imagine, just guessing now, Italian-American family, there might have been some good food involved?
Oh, yes. Lots and lots of good food involved,
Sure.
And they didn't teach us in school, as everybody says, how to eat right. So the Italian way was always soup or spaghetti and then your meal. Right. Which was, nowadays, it's way too much. But at the time, it was good. That's what they did.
That was normal.
That's right. Right. So when my grandmother came over, and she made a good life, she was, when she came over, on the boat, she brought her daughter, and then my father came over with his parents, and they came over, and they lived in downtown Detroit by Eastern Market
Yeah.
for a long time, and my grandfather finally got a job at Ford,
Yep.
and they made a life.
As did mine.
Yeah.
Ford helped so many families get off the ground and get running and get established and do. Excellent.
And I can remember a story my grandmother used to say. There were 2 stores. One, because they had no money. So one, they would go in and say, I need bread, but can I pay you later when they get paid? Right. And one said no.
Yep.
And the other one said yes, just take what you need and I'll put it on. Of course, the store that gave them the credit is the one that got big.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was down by the Eastern Market.
Of course.
And I don't know who it was, but yeah, it was good.
Now tell me what it's like with your sisters. Now you said three sisters and you?
I've got 3 sisters. I've got
4 girls in one house?
Yes, that's why Dad didn't have any help.
Yes, all right.
No, 5 because my mother too.
Got it.
So he was a saint.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it like to be involved with a bunch of sisters?
It was good.
Yeah.
We were a close family. We grew up close. I went to a Catholic school, Guardian Angels in Detroit, born in Detroit. And then we were all young when he got sick. So that really band us together because we all went out and got jobs. Because what happened was we started in Detroit, and then he built a house in Southfield. And for a year we rented in between because the house sold so fast.
Yep.
Then he got sick after he built it. So he wasn't there very long. So it was hard. It was really hard because we all, we just would work and then throw our money right in a pile.
Of course.
To get by. But that taught us a lot too.
It would.
That taught us a lot too. But my sisters, I have 3 great sisters. One, her name's Catherine Schneider, and she's written 2 books.
Really?
I don't know if you want the name of the books. I was writing them down before. She wrote a book called Sensory Secrets.
Okay.
And that's about a jump start on learning for your kids.
Excellent.
So, and then she wrote another one, Brainchild, and it supercharged your child's brain by balancing technology with real life because there's too much of this.
Amen.
And so she's got those 2 books out, and she's a wonderful speaker.
Yeah,
She's
good.
a motivational speaker. She's also an occupational therapist. My third sister, because then there's me, is Pat Knabler. Now she lives in Texas, but she is I'm going to get this right, special ed teacher and mastered in disability and autism.
Really? Excellent.
And she was in Rochester, her last
Good
job.
heart. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to be a special person to work with any kids, but especially with the autism, it's hard. And then my third sister, Rena, she was a senior citizen director in Saline. And they're all retired now.
Senior citizens, I hear a theme here.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of. Actually, I used to help her when she had her senior center. I would go and help her too. So, so now we had decided, since Dad died so young, and we all had jobs that were all over, we had decided that once a year, no matter what, we would get together.
Good for you.
That was when my mother was alive, plus even after she even now, because we said life's too short.
Well, if you don't make things like that happen, you'll fill up the minutes with other stuff and look back going, man, I wish they had done it. I wish we had done it differently.
And you don't make the appointment. You just don't do it.
Exactly. Well, what we're going to do is take a little break.
Okay.
Because it sounds like you've had a great childhood. Now we're gonna step into the next section of your life. So stay with me.
Okay.
Stay with us, and we'll be back in a minute. You stayed. Thank you very much. There's more to Marie's story, and we're going to get it right now. So, Marie, where'd you go to high school, and what did you do after high school?
I went to high school in Southfield High.
Yeah.
Graduated. There were 1,200 in our class. We graduated from Cobo Hall.
Yeah.
With so many. That's awfully big. Then after that, I was going to go to college, but that's when my father got sick. So I took on a couple jobs. One, I waitressed at Holiday Inn, and it was on 8 Mile and Myers at the time. And then I had, I think it was Big Boys. So through school, I had already been working at Big Boys, and then after I graduated, I stayed.
Sure.
And then I had planned on going to college later, which kind of came about, but it didn't come about because I stayed with Holiday Inn and I kept advancing.
Good.
Yeah. So I was there for 8 years. Well, in between there, I got married.
Okay.
You know, I was 19. It sounds unheard of now, doesn't it? 19.
It happens. Where did you meet your husband?
Where did I meet him? I met him on a blind date, actually.
Cool.
It was a blind date, yeah. Yeah, worked out good. And then, but then we divorced. We were married for 20 years, and then we divorced.
20 years is good.
But in the meantime, I was working, and I advanced. I went to, I quit 8 Mile and Myers because it was a little dangerous to go to work after a while. So I went to 8 Mile in John R., Hazel Park.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't 8 Mile, it was 10 Mile. 10 Mile in John R. So I went there, and then I kept advancing until I was assistant food and beverage director.
Excellent.
And my next step would have been running one of the inns.
Yep.
But when you are working in the city, I was the director of sales there for a long time. I was trying to sell the hotel, the inn, to corporate businesses.
Sure.
So I was selling space, nothing tangible. Yep. It's a hard thing to do.
It's a hard thing to do.
It's very hard. So what I did was I was there for a while. I was burnt out after a while because I did the weddings and the banquets and had conferences there, and I ran all of that. So when I did quit, they offered me an inn anywhere. They tried to explain to me that everything's not like Hazel Park, where all you can see is the expressway, you know, and buildings that I could go to a nice resort, and it wouldn't be as hard. Because when you're in a hotel that's a city and somebody doesn't get their wake-up call, they come down upset.
They do.
You know, so, but I had it. I had it with that. So after that, I believe in the mind is very, very powerful. And I was just learning about that at the time. So I thought, well, I'm going to test this. So I can remember I was sitting on the floor in my living room, and I thought, because after a while of not being home, I got kind of bored. And I wanted another job. So I took the paper out, and I was on the floor, flipped the page, saying, I want an easy job. I want a job that just works 10 to 3. I'm not weekends any more than weekends. I want a good paying job.
Right.
And then I just thought, that's it. And actually, that's exactly the job that I got.
Really?
Yeah.
What job was that?
It was working for, it was seniors. It was a company that put out the meals for the seniors. And I went into Troy. I didn't tell them my background because I just wanted a job where there was no responsibility. So I went into Troy, and there was a lady there, wonderful, wonderful woman, that said she did not want to be the head of it. So they made me the head of the kitchen, and she said she would teach me. So she taught me batch cooking. So I stayed there for a while until my boss found out my background. And when she did, she called me in and asked me if I would oversee 7 kitchens. So we did 2,600 meals a day. Homebounds.
That's a lot of food.
Yeah, because we took just about all of Oakland County. We didn't have Rochester.
It needs to be food that's good and good tasting because these are people who need good food.
Well, the government, when you work for them, they make sure that the vitamins are right. They want the colors right on the meal. It's very, very detailed because sometimes you have peas on the menu and they're green, and Gordon's or whoever's might be out of it that day. So you have to, it was a big job. Then my boss opened up. Now that was a non-profit job. Then she opened up a profit, and she asked me if I would oversee that. So I was overseeing both of the.
You're juggling a lot here.
Yeah, it was a lot.
This is from a lady who didn't want a job with any responsibility. Yeah, okay, got it. Yes.
You're exactly right.
You
So I
succeeded
lasted
marvelously.
I lasted, 5 or 6 years for that too, and then they downsized, and I was not there anymore. But
What did you learn from that job, either from the job itself or from the people you worked with or your supervisor? Any skills or traits or lessons that have stayed with you throughout life that you learned back then?
Well, I knew this lesson, that you can do more. It's the old saying, you can get more with a little bit of honey than you can.
Bravo.
Seniors are wonderful. Seniors are workers, and seniors have the experience. So I would hire seniors. I would walk into my kitchens, and they would run, and I'd say, don't ever run for me. I was getting 100% at my kitchen for everything. And it was just nice. So it's better to have people with experience a lot of times than to hire somebody, and I hate to say it, just fresh out of college, because, they need the training that the seniors have the experience.
They only know what they know.
Yes.
And I think sometimes they may think they know more than they do. So
Yes, yes.
seniors, we don't know everything, but we've got a pretty good idea how things work.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and it's just good.
So you're working, you're doing all these, that simple, no responsibility job for a while. Yep.
Yeah.
During that time, did you travel? Did you get to see the world at all? Did you see the country at all?
No, I didn't for work for sure.
Yeah.
Holiday Inn would send me once in a while when I was with them to their schools in Mississippi. Right. But I didn't. But I've never had the urge to travel.
Got it.
And I think that's because my grandmother used to say, "I kiss the ground I'm standing on." She never wanted to go back to Italy.
She had a good reason for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, she said there's nothing like the U.S.
Yeah.
And people just didn't realize that. She did, but she would. But I love it here. There's no.
Okay, good.
I know we get invited back all the time, and that my Italian cousins come here, but I've just never had the desire.
So how did you get out in this part? You were down in Southfield for a long time, right?
Yes.
So did you stay in the Southfield area, or did you move around?
Well, what I did was I remarried.
Okay.
And then first I moved to Waterford.
Yep.
And we were there for like 3 years. And then we moved out here to Addison. We were looking around for a house. And
That's a big step from Waterford to Addison Township.
Yeah. Well, my husband is from Kentucky, so he wanted like somewhere with some land.
Get me some land.
Yeah, and I'm from the city, but I loved it out here from the second I came out here. I loved
When
it.
did you come out here? Do you remember the year?
91.
So you've been here a week or two.
Yeah, we've been here a long time. And what I realized coming out here too, my husband was going to come. We needed something notarized, and so my husband worked, and he got off at 5. He was Chrysler.
Sure.
So he got off at 5, and I called the township, and I said, I need something notarized. What time are you open until? And they said 5, and I said, I was kind of thinking out loud on the phone, and I said, well, okay. I said, I'll just have my husband leave work a little bit earlier. And the lady that was on the phone, the girl that was on the phone, I don't know who it was because we were new, she said, oh, no. She said, don't have him take off work early.
Really?
I will wait.
Really?
And I was not used to that, being in the city. You don't
For a city office, no.
Yeah, and I said, what? And she said, no, I'll wait. No sense him losing work. And that was my first taste of the township. And they have been wonderful ever since.
That is such a great story that they're they were willing to accommodate you when they didn't have to.
They didn't have to.
It tells you something about the pace out here. Well, that's
right,
great.
That's
Wow.
right. But anyway, my cousin was a builder out here, and that's how we found the house.
Got it. Okay, good. All right. Well, what we're going to do, you plopped out here in Addison Township. You've enjoyed it out here, certainly.
The second I came out here.
This next section, we're going to talk a little bit about when that started and what you got to today, because we're winding down. So stay with me. Don't run away.
Okay.
Stay with us. Don't run away. And we'll be back in just a minute with more exciting life of Marie May. Thanks, Marie.
When a crisis hits, close to home and across the globe, nonprofits are on the front lines, ready to serve.
Keep coming.
The demand for charitable services has skyrocketed, and nonprofits are rising to meet the needs. Healing, nurturing, rescuing, honoring, protecting, caring, inspiring. The work of philanthropic organizations of all sizes, across all missions, has never been more important. And it's donors and volunteers like you who make all this possible. Thank you. Together, we change the world. The Nonprofit Alliance.
And we're back, and you're back, and we're going to go on here. So, Marie, you're out in Addison Township. You're new out here. You've had one really good experience, and you're going, this is pretty cool. Where did you live, and how'd you pick a house site, and what's your husband think about this new business about being in Addison Township, where there clearly is some land? You're not snugged up in a city. Tell us a little bit about how you got started out here.
Well, we were in Waterford.
Yep.
And we weren't real happy in Waterford because it was more city.
Sure.
And my husband's from Kentucky.
Yep.
His name's Roger. And
That's a good name.
Roger is good. Roger he wanted more land. Yeah. And for me, it didn't matter, as long as it was a house and, something we liked. So my cousin was a builder at the time, and he had built this house. He built it for us when we were going to build out here. But so he built it, and we just loved it. My mother lived in the city, and she was worried because we were the only one on the block at the time. We have 4 houses now, but and so she was really worried, and I was never worried, not one second. I remember helping my mother move from Clawson out here one time, and I got a flat tire on the side. And I had the whole back of my Jeep was just filled with things. I got a flat tire. So I pulled on the side, and within 2 minutes, somebody stopped. He changed the tire. I said, I'm not, my car's not usually this messy. I'm moving, someone. He changed the tire, and he was gone.
Of course.
And that's what people do out here.
That's the way things ought to be, I'll say.
They do. If you're in trouble, somebody will help you, whether they know you or not.
Yep.
And so it's just a different type of living, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful life of living. Addison Township's really good.
So you're dazzled, you and your husband are pleased by being here.
Okay.
So how did you get involved in this senior stuff that you do here?
Well, they built this room on,
Yeah.
and they needed someone, and I just applied
Got it.
for the job. Just applied for the job.
How long ago was that?
7 years. I can't believe it.
Really?
It's been 7 years.
And it goes
already.
like this, huh?
Yes, it goes very fast. And I'm part-time.
Yep.
I'm supposed to be part-time.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And it's great. The seniors are great. They come in, and we really need it out here. We really need it.
What do you bring to the job? What skills and abilities and heart thinking do you bring that help you do this job well?
You're not asking me what we're doing, like with the calendars, what we do. People. I love people. And I feel like if you treat somebody the way you want to be treated, it works.
Imagine
That's
that.
all. Yeah.
I'm guessing you might have had some lessons in that growing up too.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah. It really, really works. And I'm very spiritual. Okay. I'm a spiritual person. I was raised Catholic. Okay. And I've went to different religions, but I've realized once a Catholic, always a Catholic. Okay. And that's a good thing. Yeah. But I'm very spiritual, and I believe that what you do, to others really makes an influence. Yeah. And the more you help, the better it is for everybody, not just for me.
Well, treat others the way you want to be treated is excellent advice, regardless of what people's path is. I'm kind of on your same path, but it's good. So does that spiritual depth help you deal with the challenges that must come with your work here?
Everything. Yeah. The spirituality.
Yep.
It's everything. It's everything. Because if I look at somebody else as we're equals and we both belong to God, how can you mess with that? You wouldn't treat somebody bad that way. So yeah, my thinking is different. My thinking is a lot different. I also belong to the American Legion, which I don't do much in, but there also is a Miss Senior Michigan pageant. Okay. A lot of people don't know, but my theme, you have to, when I did enter it, this was 12 years ago. Yep. When I entered it, you had to have a saying, and mine was, "It's better to give than to receive."
Bravo.
Because I think people don't realize that when you give something from the heart, you get back 10 times back.
You do.
Over. And
have you any experience that proves that theory, young lady?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Many.
Thought you might.
Many. You can't walk a little lady across the street and then see somebody and say, look what I did, pat them on the back. You can't brag about it because then that's your
Yeah.
thank you. But if you just do it out of your heart,
Yeah.
do it out of your heart and let it go. Do it because you want to do it. You will be rewarded. So I'm proof of that. This
You are.
job, where I live, my house,
Got it.
I'm living proof of that.
So then sneaking into your actual job here, what do you do? Who is involved? And what would you like to do in the future if you looked ahead? Let's keep the future out. What are you doing today and who's involved in the programs that you
Today, I do the monthly calendar for the seniors.
Yep.
I think of events. I think of different things to do Monday through Friday. Sometimes I visit some of them if they're sickly, or even if they're not sickly. Sometimes I just visit if they're lonely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lonesome seniors out there
Sure there are.
that people just need. And if I see an interest in a senior and then I don't see them, I call them and
Good.
kind of urge them to come out, help them get with NODA
Yep.
that will bring them out in case they don't have a ride.
Excellent.
We go to casinos sometimes. We just do different things, and it's so important for seniors to have seniors, because and I hate to say it, but we're getting older and we lose our friends.
We do.
It's very, very important to make new friends all the time, because you never know.
Do you find that happens when a senior comes in and might be kind of alone out here and gets involved in some of the programs that they might make a new friend or two along the way?
Oh, they do. Oh, yes, they become girlfriends. I say girlfriends because we don't have many men out here.
Yep.
It's a shame, but we just don't. Yep. But they become girlfriends and they see each other outside of it's great. It's great.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really good.
So if you could look ahead, if you rule the world, and knowing what you do about Addison, about seniors, and what would you do with the organization in the future? How would the senior center interact? What changes would there be? What programs could be developed? Anything that you could look ahead about?
Well, you asked me who was important, and Bruce Pearson is our township supervisor. He's wonderful. He was all for the seniors. He implemented the program when he came in. We have a tennis court out there now. I don't know if you what is it?
The pickleball.
Pickleball out there. So he put that in, and there's going to be sports coming down here soon too. But I think if the building was bigger, like if we could put a room on the side over here, or because I use the township's room. The boardroom is the township room, and the little conference room is the room. This senior room is really my only room, but they allow me to use it. So we work together on that.
Got it.
If someone else comes in, they have to book the time for it. But it's wonderful. It's great. You got to stay active if you're a senior. You've got to stay active.
Yeah. Get away from the remote control and get out and control your life.
Yes.
It takes work.
It's good. Yeah. It takes a lot of work.
Excellent. All right. So you've given us a clear idea who Marie May is, because you've talked a lot about the ground out of which you grow, and it sounds like you had, and you're still having a great life. So well, we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for that. Thank you for all the work you do here. We'll see you in our studio from time to time.
Yes, that's right. I'm the co-host on OCTV. I have to mention that.
Indeed. And what do you co-host there?
I co-host a senior show with Dawn Medici, and we bring in people. That's a big thing. We bring in people from the state that can answer so many senior questions that people come in here and ask me. And I try to tell them, if you will watch that, it answers so much, because you feel so alone sometimes. Like, who do I turn to? Especially if a spouse dies. Then you really feel alone, and you can find the right person.
You can. All right. Well, then, thank you for all you do.
You're welcome.
We
Thank
appreciate
you for
that.
inviting me.
It's a pleasure. So that's it for today. This edition of My Life. This is Chuck Cameron with Marie May saying, we hope you have an excellent rest of the day. Thanks,
you.
Marie.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
great. Good to talk to you, and good to see all the cool stuff you do.